Welcome to episode 3 in the Creating Course That Works mini series. And in this episode, we're talking all about breaking down content into teeny tiny little bits. Again, this is one of the things I talk about a lot, and you've probably or possibly seen it before, but there is so much importance in this step that I'm going to spend a fair bit of time talking to you about it today. Now, because this is also one of the most important steps in course creation, and I think one of the steps that people probably get wrong, I'm going to give you some extra information today. So down below the video as well, you'll find the blog, you'll find an image explaining the process, and you'll find an opportunity to download some templates to help this even easier, or to help this be even easier for you. So, you see, the thing with courses is people have this tendency to over-deliver content, and what you need to do when you're helping someone to learn something is to break the content down into really teeny tiny little pieces. Now, I like to call those chunks. It's not the sexiest of names, but it's pretty much what it is. So it's a bite-sized chunk. Bite-size means that they should be able to take it in one bite. So you know when you have food or canapes and they just fit in your mouth in one go? Content should be the same. Whenever you deliver a bit of content to a person, realistically, the bit you deliver should be consumable in that one sitting. Because let's be honest, how many folders and files do you have on your computer or in your email or bookmarked in your browser where you've got something that was really meaty and really good that you've promised yourself you will go back to later? It's possibly hundreds of them. And how many of them do you actually get back to? Maybe not as many. You see, the thing is, content is great, but we're in this huge content overwhelm at the moment. The internet is full of content. That's really not the problem. And so your course isn't necessarily about ramming as much content down their throat as you can, but instead it's about delivering it in such easy bite-sized chunks that leads them through a process that it is easier for them than using the internet. Yeah? Because if they really wanted to, they could probably go and find the information on Google. You can find just about everything on Google, let's be honest. So, for each tiny little chunk that you create, each little morsel that you're going to feed your audience, I want you to consider these 5 things. Number 1, first of all, you're going to teach them the stuff you need to teach them. Now that can come in any format, so it might be video like this, it might be audio, it might be workbook, it's up to you, but you need to actually teach them the content. It could be, again, if you're doing video, maybe face to screen like this, it might be voice over PowerPoint, it might be screen share if you're taking them through a technical process. The format depends on the subject matter and the audience, so find what works for you and what works for them, but you need to actually show them the thing you want to show them. Number 2, you need to tell them a story. Now this can be interwoven with your content telling, it doesn't need to be separate, but story is really important to the way people learn. Let's be honest, people learn through story. We always have, and we always will. It helps someone see how something is relevant. It helps someone see how something is implemented. It helps them see how realistic a concept is. So you can share a story about when you were doing something. You can share a story about when one of your clients did it. You can share a story about someone in the public eye. So if you're talking about security or safety at the moment, you might refer to the recent Kim Kardashian thing. You know, just go with what works for your audience and a story that's going to be relevant to them. But share a story of how important it is to do the thing you just taught them and why, and really make it real for them. Number 3, then you're going to ask them to do it. This is probably one of the most important steps in your course. Sure, content is great, but people need to implement. And if they're not taking action straight away, then they never will. Yeah? You know it. That thing that sits on your to-do list for 3 or 4 or 6 months or 12 months suddenly seems a whole heap harder than it did the day you wrote it down. The quicker you can take action on something, the faster you can do it, the easier it is. And it's the same for your audience. You want them to be taking action really quickly, and for each little bite-sized piece that you give them. So rather than saving up all your action points to the end of a series or to the end of your content, make sure that each step along the way they are given their own little thing to go away and do. Something they can get done straight away. That, like I said, is probably one of the most important parts of your course. And if you're missing that step, if you're missing that individual call to action in every chunk, this is when you get students who get fallen behind, or they don't get the results they want, or your people just aren't using your course the way you want them to. Step number 4, feedback. Feedback is actually really important to the learning process. It helps someone understand if they've done something well or where they haven't gone so well perhaps, or where they can improve for next time. The thing with feedback and the thing with online courses is a lot of people skip this step. So they sell their courses DIY or self-paced, and you just buy the content. That's great, but lots of people have questions. You might read a video, you might read the post or watch the video and suddenly go, well, what does he mean by that? Or, but how does he do that? What happens then is your student ends up on Google trying to find the answer, and then they get distracted and then they don't actually get the thing done. Feedback in a learning process is really important. Now, you can offer this in lots of ways. It might be in a group, it might be in a private Facebook area, it might be in a forum on your website, it might be through live calls like Skype or Zoom, it might be through one-on-one coaching or training or face-to-face sessions. It doesn't really matter. But you need somewhere where students can come and just ask the questions they get stuck on, where they can show you what they've done and they can ask for feedback, where you can tell them when they've done really well, and where you can give them areas where they can improve for next time. That feedback cycle is a really key role of learning something properly. Lastly, and step 5, if you'd like, then you can give them more additional resources. Now, like I said, these bite-sized morsels, this is the way you want people to start taking action. And this is why we leave additional resources until the end of a chunk. If you feed them to someone up front, then what's going to happen is they're going to go into that content overwhelm. They're going to get caught up reading all of your additional resources and your extra links and your blogs and your podcasts. And then they're going to go into this overwhelm of going, oh my God, there's so much to do. I could never do all of that. If you want someone to take action, you need to feed them the tiniest of bits first and get them to try it. Get them to give it a go. Then they can pick up the additional information. Then they can learn more. But they need to give it a go. So, your key takeaways from today. Break your content down into teeny bite-sized morsels. They should be able to sit down and consume each thing they're sent in one go. That means if you're sending out hour-long videos, it's possible they're not going to sit and consume it. Step 2 for today, follow the 5 steps. They're there for a reason, they're there to help people. So to make your life easier, down below while you're planning out your chunks, I have shown you what I mean in a bit of a visual if you need to see it like I do. And down below that there's a link so you can content upgrade and you can get all of the templates and stuff as well. So you can grab the course creation bundle. It gives you a template for what I've just spoken about and an area to plan out your content as well. If you need it, it's down below and grab it. As always guys, I will see you in the next video.